Good evening, Dr. Cole. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, good.
Oh.
Hello. I think I better.
Good evening, Pastor.
Hi, Pastor Diana. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
I'm gonna put it on mute because the little people are, in the background.
Tell them I say hey.
Pastor Leah say hey.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our financial literacy ministry presentation. Everybody that's watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, if you all could do me a favor and go ahead and share the post. Again, anybody that's watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, if you can do me a favor and go ahead and share the post, I would be extremely appreciative. I now present to you the coordinator of our emotional literacy ministry, Dr. Nina Gillis.
Thank you, Pastor Rawls. Everybody, this man of God has been just amazing for my life, just a great covering. And so for him to allow me to pilot this on this platform that he encourages the community with is, I don't take it lightly. I know this is a favor of the Lord. And so this is our final night together. So I really wanted to, I kind of switch hit on you tonight because as you can see in my room, I tried to get everything in here so you all can begin to pray that the manifestation of a facility for me so that I can put these things up permanently. But I'm gonna try to hold this up so you can see. These are some of the things we've talked about, since we've been here, except for the heart right there, the love knots. That's what we're going to be doing tonight. So you don't get a real grasp of it, but I wanted to just kind of, acknowledge you tonight and acknowledge those who have helped me to get to this point. So thank you, Pastor Rawls, for your ever-ending favor and support. And you all know that I've had quite a bit on my plate these days. So it's been very, very comforting to let me be able to be free to do these things. So good evening, everybody. Good evening. And I just want to have a word of prayer. Father, we thank you and we give you the glory and honor. We know that this is a practical skills platform, but we want to begin and always give you the honor that you deserve. We thank you for all these amazing 6 sessions, and that tonight will be no less of a glory to you and to build your kingdom and your people. In Jesus' name, amen. So as everybody is coming in, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I'm going to begin the slideshow at the beginning. Okay. All right. So as people are entering to the platform tonight, into the cyberspace, I want this to be an interactive evening. As I was preparing to teach Heart Talk is I Talk, it was very clear to me that, most of the things I could fit in the 45-minute framework, just to give you an overview. But this lesson and these skills and tools are just so precious to my heart that I didn't want to do that. So what we're going to do, as I said in my note to you, we're going to get a taste of it tonight, just a little bit of an introduction to whet your palate and pray that you'll want to learn more and more about it. So now, as we begin, let me just move out of the way here. Okay. I'm glad everybody's coming because I really want everyone to, I got a chat. Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, thank you so much. Thank you. But I want to begin by saying thank you for choosing to be a peace participant. Thank you so much. I know that the practical concepts and interpersonal skills and tools were another way of living. This is what I call this platform of learning. It's another way of living. It's even another way of loving. It's another way of lighting up your life. And it's something that is foreign to us. And so a lot of times when things are foreign, they're not palatable. They seem odd, and they are, because they're not the norm for our lives. So what I've taught you these six sessions is not the norm. This is not how we live. It's almost like when we got saved, we went into kingdom living, where before that we were a soul man, like James Brown used to say, I'm a soul man. We were soul people living out of our soul, what we felt, what we loved with our taste buds, what we hear, all those things guided our life. But then when we met Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, he taught us in the book of Matthew, starting at chapter 5 all the way to chapter 7, how to live in the kingdom. He was a kingdom living person. And so these skills are like that. This is a whole nother way of living. And so even when you actually are expressing or walking out, it'll be foreign to the people that you are in contact with. But as you could keep practicing it, practicing and practicing, it will become the norm for you. It will. So this is another way of living. I pray that your desire to create healthier relationships would encourage you to pay attention from this day forward to the ways in which you think, speak, respond, especially under pressure. I have learned that when I'm under pressure, shut up. Just don't say nothing, because a lot of times what you say is out of your emotions, and you want whatever you say you want whatever you're saying to count, and not to be a distraction, but to really count. So sometimes you just don't need to say nothing until you have a piece about how to say it. So remember, practice, 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 and practice some more. It's a mantra. You should, like I said, I hope you hear it in your dream. Dr. Gill is saying practice, practice, practice. Yes, practice, practice, and practice some more until it becomes a way of life. I pray that you never forget what we've shared and what we've started, because what you have experienced is just the beginning. This was called a pilot, an introduction. But as you navigate and you begin to explore what I will be presenting, like weekend getaways, and that's going to be my objective, is to do weekend seminars. Well, you stay overnight, especially for those that come to my Sweet Night, SUITE, Sweet Night for couples and married people. We'll stay in a hotel and we'll actually just work the whole weekend working on those relationships. So come January, I got a staff supporting me to begin to do at least 3 of those weekends a year. I want to train. I don't want to teach like I'm doing right now on a regular basis. I want to train facilitators and teachers, instructors to do this. And I want these people to be like the Lord, go into every man's world with it. Just go into every man's world, duplicate it everywhere you go. So I pray that you never forget where we started and that you will help share them everywhere. So with that, this is our final session tonight. And so we're going to take a 30-second breath. Here's what I'm going to do. Let's see. Because if your day is like mine, you've been rushing. So as we pause for this second, just to settle into ourselves and open up our spirits and our hearts to hear what we're going to hear tonight. Okay, let's just review. We're going to do a verbal review just real quickly on the things that we learned. We started with the fundamentals. What is emotional literacy? What is a profile of an emotionally literate person? Understanding anger. What is it? How do you learn? What are the levels of learning? That's where we began. And so what did we learn? Emotional literacy is the ability to verbally and bodily express the effects that are being experienced in your 5 physical senses. Now, we've always been in touch with our 5 physical senses. Even before we met the Lord, that's how we lived, out of our 5 physical senses. But now to have the ability to verbally and bodily express it in a healthy way, that's what we have learned and during this time together in the beginning. So to be able to value the very brilliance of a person's mind, their will, their intellect. People don't think like you think. Their will is not your will, but everyone's supposed to conform to the gifting that God has created them to be. So our appetites and our desires in ways that nurture the relationship. We want to bring strength to our relationships, especially when times get hard. In those challenging moments, when everything is fun and happy, we can all smile and flip but in those challenging times, instead of wanting to give up and quit, sit back and evaluate what's happening in your life and what is the direction and what is the words or what are you supposed to be doing with your life, okay? Then we learn the profile of the emotionally literate person, which is our goal. Short-term goal, practice, practice, practice. A long-term goal to be an emotionally literate person. An emotionally educated person or literate person is one who's able to read, write, and understand the language of the heart and the soul. The Bible talks a lot about how the heart talks, So that's why I love this tool tonight, Heart Talk, because our soul speaks. We can be soul-led, body-ruled, or we can be spirit-led. And so I'm teaching you how to make your soul and your body submit or conform to the will of the Spirit that's inside of you, the real you. That person can communicate empathy and compassion at the same time for others. Not only do I feel sorry for you, but I can feel what you feel. If I let myself sit in your seat, I can see what you're going through. And then that person can level. That means look eyeball to eyeball, verbally communicate not only with the mouth, but with the eyes so that we can see what's going on in the heart. The eyes are the windows of the soul. You can see a person's truth when you look into their eyes. And so that's why leveling is one of the greatest skills that you can learn. Always look a person congruently. All right. Then we understood that anger, that thing that we've been trying to harness, when we get upset or when somebody get our timing wrong or whatever, we wild out, whatever we want to call it, understanding anger, that no matter what we do to try to hold it down, it's impossible because it is from God. Anger is actually an antenna. It's a protector for you, but how we express that anger has been the problem. We have never been told how to express our anger. We have always been told, don't be angry. Just don't be angry. And the Lord says in his word, be angry. He said, be angry, but just don't sin. Be angry and sin not. So if he said, be angry, that God is saying that, okay, then we have to validate. The first thing is to understand that it's a part of our biological reality. Everybody is born with the ability to be angry. It's our emotional makeup. We cannot will it away. But there are a lot of choices that we can make about how we can understand and how we can express it. And the answer is to learn to validate anger. See, instead of saying, I'm mad, we can say, yes, I feel anger. I feel emotionally distraught right now. But then don't sin. So I'm going to pop you in your mouth. No, you're not going to pop them in the mouth. You can say, but that does not make me not love you. I'm going to love you. When this fight is over, I'm going to love you. And we know that's the truth. When the fight is over and everybody's in their right sense, oh, I'm sorry. Then, as you know, you have to rebuild, and then it goes into a cycle where you do it again, and you do it again, and you to the point where you just can't do it no more. Okay. So the answer is to learn to validate it, express it in ways that build, not in ways that tear it down, but in ways that build. Understanding, empathy, love, and closure. Okay. So empathy, we saw what that means. It means understanding, and fellow feeling. That's what it is. Here we go. Then we went into lesson 2 where we found the styles of communication, and we had a little fun with the computer, the distractor, the blamer, and I don't know why I got that there. Shouldn't be the computer, the blamer, the distractor, and the placator. I don't know why that's there, but that's another one I got to do. Okay, but the placator. So we had a little fun, understood that all of these are stressful. When we are stressed out, we act out in certain ways. And we learned how the profile of each one. And then we learned that eustress is also a stressful style of communicating, but it's healthy. It's that adrenaline rush. It's that part of you that gets so excited about the goal that you put everything that you got to reach that goal or to perform that act. And when it is done, even if you lose, you've given it your all. So eustress helps you to give it your all. I have been trying to learn how to do that for a long time. I'm still practicing how to give it my all, you all. So all these tools, you will be using them for the rest of your lives. You know where your holes in the floor are. You know where you need building up. I use these skills all the time. I mean, I'm telling you, I will be using them forever because I can remember when I was an emotional basket case, and the Lord has delivered me. And with these tools, I'm able to sustain. Okay, now, so then we also found out in lesson number 3, we were introduced to the emotional pot of feelings. I didn't have enough room to put it in there, but that's where we were all a pot on a hot plate, and how what we have experienced in our lives it is layers. Every time we've been abused, every time we had a distraction, every time we've been disappointed, every emotional, physical, whatever negative things that we have experienced in life, it lays inside of our being. And it lays on top of what was on us when we were born, which were the great things, a clean slate, that love, that pureness of our heart was down there. But this, when negative stuff happens, it overpowers that amazing good feeling that we had when we were babies. But we learned how we could empty that pot. We could journal or write about what's going on or what we've experienced. We can speak it out with someone else, or we can spew and rack it out with the bat and the pillow. Didn't have room in here to put all that tonight. But those are the way that we empty. So don't forget these things. When I do the seminars, come sign up and attend and actually work these things out. We're unable to work it out like in its totality, even though what you have learned is a great foundation. In session 4, we found out that bonding is the cornerstone. If I was teaching this to the church right now, I would go back to Genesis and prove it. How bonding was from the beginning. And but for this practical platform, we found out that we call it the keystone. That means everything else that we have learned can lay and build on top of this. And I shared with you the reason that I put it in session 4, even though it's the cornerstone or the keystone of the program, is because when people come into my program, they are so emotionally devastated that they're unable to bond. Sometimes I can remember when we had participants that were referred from the judicial system, they would walk in the door and wouldn't even sit with each other. They don't want to see each other's face and would say it. I don't want to see his face. The only reason we're here is because the court making it so I don't have to go to jail. But other than that, I don't, just get me through with this. And by the time they finished this course, they were hugging. And they were reunited and couldn't believe that this was a way they could live and all like that. So these are proven skills and tools. They work in every man's world. And so bonding, you need it from the womb to the tomb. If you're not bonding, you're at a deficit. Okay. Clear communication is good talking and good listening. That was what the last time we were together. Good talking is when you're able to express one thought without dumping a lifetime of experiences in the conversation, to stay on target with what's hurting right now. And then the listener knows that they're listening real good if they're able to say to you what you've said to them verbatim. Now, sometimes, once you get to understand each other at a different level, you can almost encompass what was going to be said. So that's okay too. But when you're learning, you want to say exactly what the person said so they know you heard them. That's how you know when a person heard you. When they say, I hear you, and you say, oh, what did I say? If they can't tell you what you said, then they did not hear you. We think we're listening sometimes, but we're not. And then we learned how to locate our level of listening. How we do that? Well, how do you listen? Are we just waiting for you to get quiet so I can say what I want to say? I'm about to pop before you get through, and sometimes I'll even interrupt you. So we learned where our level of listening was last week. And so Heart Talk this week, our final session. Heart Talk is I talk. I have or, and what I'm saying that I'm giving this whole 6-week sessions a facelift. I have my graphic artist helping me to give this a brand new look and on my covers. And so it's just been a great experience. What you all have done for me has allowed me to grow and develop even more in this process. And so I'll be thanking you all the way through the night, But Heart Talk is I talk, and it uses what I call sentence stems. Now, Dr. Laurie Gordon is the person that I learned all of my lessons from. I have just actually transformed them into a format that is palatable for my culture. On purpose, I rewrote this for the Black community because I'm telling you, we are off the chain emotionally crazy. I'm telling you, I used to be one of them, so I know that. And even sometimes now when I'm in the stores and I'm looking at how, whatever it is, it's a little thing, just send people to a tirade, And so these tools and skills are designed to teach them from their infancy. I would love to see this even in kindergarten on their level, how to operate your emotions so that when they grow up, they won't have to go through what we've gone through. All right. So it uses sentence stems and parroting style of dialogue. This is what I realized, that it's impossible for me to teach this in 45 minutes. But parenting style of dialogue, you remember we used to have the parakeets? We don't have parakeets anymore, but when I was a little girl, my grandmother had a little bird cage and had like 2 or 3 parakeets in there. And at some point she got one that would talk. And the parrot, no matter how much he could talk, he only said what you said. So parenting style of dialogue means I'm going to be like a parrot. Whatever you say, I'm going to say it. All right. So, and that takes the bite out of the conversation. When you use a I talk or a heart talk, and you use a parroting style of dialogue, it takes the bite, and I'm going to show you how, out of the conversation. And when you parrot, it keeps the focus on one issue. Have you ever sat down and you're going to talk about why you're late, and then you started talking about what you did 10 years ago before you got through, and what you did 15 years ago, and you're going to do it tomorrow. You're going to never change. You just go everywhere with that conversation instead of just staying with the issue that's on the table. And so heart talk is this amazing tool and skill that actually takes the knots, the love knots, out of your relationship. I got it. You see that little pillar right there? When I have my seminars, I have that hanging from the ceiling, and it really just gets the couples, enlightened to see how our love is in knots. We don't realize that we have created this almost a stranglehold on each other. And so this untangles all those love knots and actually helps to relieve stress and strain out of the equation. So this is how the Heart Talk poster looks. And I talk, as you can see, every single phrase or sentence stem. This is called a sentence stem. I need a pointer. How do I do that? Okay. I think I just did a pin. Okay. I need an arrow. Visible arrow. Okay. I don't know how to do it. Too bad. But as you can see,
do what you were just doing, and then just slide up to the top. Yeah, click that, now go up to the top. There you go.
Thank you, Pastor. Okay, because you see right here, this is where the start of the knot untangling begins. But as you can see, every single sentence stem begins with the I. We will learn to transition or transform our minds into understanding that when I say you, I put you on the defensive. But if I say I, it makes it more palatable for you to listen to what I'm saying. So you want to always begin by an observation, not what you think, not what Sally told you, not what the boss man told you, not what the girl on the street told you, not what the street's talking. No, none of that. That's something that you pray about. When somebody brings you something, you pray about it. But when you actually observe it for yourself, then you can say the behavior. For instance, if you're married or you're in a relationship or you're roommates with someone and you agree that you're going to be home at a certain time for this amount of time, and all of a sudden you're not there, then you would say, I observe that it's 3:00 when you get home. We promise to be here at 2. Now you can choose to go to I imagine, I wonder, I suppose. You don't have to go in a row. You can choose, and as you learn this chart, you will learn to choose what you're going to say. You can start right here. I observe, and you can go all the way over here. I want us to keep our promises. See how much better than that sounds? And you late again. You said you're going to be home at 2:00. It's 3:00. This is the 4th time you done did this in a row, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of you. Instead, I observe that for the last 2 days, you have been 2 hours late. I want us to keep our promises. I expect that you don't know how this hurts me. I expect that you don't understand this is a trigger for me. And you can go on to explain why it's a trigger. In the past, I've always had people disappoint me. So it's the trigger for me. So I expect you don't understand that. I appreciate that you work. See, then you want to begin with the observation and work your way. You can use any of these I feel lost without you. When you're not here on time, I feel lost. So begin to talk about what your heart really feels. and not what you're thinking or not what they're going to do to you, and not be on that, not an emotional. Okay, so then you always want to end with a positive. I observe, and then go around here too. I appreciate that you work. I don't want you to think that I don't, but I know that you sometimes have to work overtime. I do understand that, but I just want you to understand that it is a trigger for me. You may go back. I feel lost. See, I have these charts, me and my husband had these charts on our mirrors, in our wallets. So we got ready to talk, we pull it out and talk, right? Because I'm telling you, I could go to some emotional places. Woo, my son on this line, he can tell you, he lived with me. But anyway, so then you can say, I appreciate your work. I realize that I might be over the top on this. And if I am, you can forgive me. And I hope that from this day on, right now, from this moment, that you understand how it affects me. And I don't want to ever be a negative in your life. I hope that this is the end of this. This is called dialogue, heart talk, I talk, whatever you want you, and the sentence stems. The sentence stems, it's just like a flower. It has a stem, and then whatever you say on the end is going to be the flower. Whoop, just like that. But it will never be abrasive, confrontational, accusatory. Those are things that you will never want to make a big old heap in your life. But you want to try to get those mountains down. All right? Now with that, this is why I do a switcheroonie. This is all that I'm going to do on the Heart Talk tonight. You have to come to a seminar so we can work it out, okay, together. I'd love to have you attend one. But I want to now just share and give glory to the Lord for those who have helped me, and so that you know I'm not a lone ranger out here. This is not just something I'm doing, but this is I believe God. This is a movement of the Lord in the earth, not just in America. And the people that I have studied with and under were traveled all over the world to study. Of course, we don't have the finances to do that, but they did. So at the end of your workbook, every participant receives a workbook with a registration. And the registration also in the very beginning, which I don't have on here tonight, it gives you my mission. What's my goal, my short-term, my long? What is my ethical standards? Do I believe in integrity? All those things are a part of your workbook so that you know me from the inside out by the time you finish this course. But in the appendix of the entire workbook, I acknowledge people. I give you a glossary of words that you should be familiar with or learn from, and references. So I'm going to go through those so that I can actually show you these people that you've never met before who've been amazing. My husband, my sons, my daughters. I got to add Jennifer because this was written before she became my daughter, but she's been amazing. Oh my goodness, what would I do without Jennifer and Michelle? And then my founder, Dr. Lori Gordon. I want you to meet them tonight, and then we'll do some editing acknowledgments. All right. So I want to first of all introduce you to my wonderful, amazing, handsome, gorgeous, stupid, my lover, my husband, my friend. We went through the most horrendous time in our lives when there was an adulterous occurrence in our relationship and we almost lost each other. I was gone. Okay. I was out. And so these tools and skills, I share with you just a little bit about how it was a miracle that this man, Rabbi Gordon, that I'm going to introduce you to in a little bit, made a call to my husband's office, and he was on a Saturday morning getting something he had left and answered the phone, and it began what was the resurrection and the reconciliation of our relationship. And the last years that we spent together, last 10 years that we spent together, were more resourceful, more he was no longer my suntan Superman. When I met my husband, I felt like he was my knight in shining armor because I had been through a divorce, a horrible divorce, had a child out of, prematurely, and just I was just a basket case. I was a thrown away baby, thought I was ugly, all this kind of stuff. And when I met him and he actually sat down and listened to me, he was the first person that ever just put his hand on his head and said, "What?" and would just listen to me talk for hours. I couldn't believe it. I had never had anyone do that. And so when we almost lost each other, that was the most horrendous thing that could have ever happened to our family. It broke our family apart. My sons went to another direction of living. And you're okay with this God, we don't want God, that kind of thing. And so these tools and skills not only restored our marriage, it restored my family. So if your family is in shambles, these tools and skills are just amazing. They're miraculous, really. So my husband, Derek Courtney Gillis Sr., he was a husband, lover, and friend for 35 years. I'm still counting, y'all. As 1974 honors graduate from the University of Florida, Derek chose a career with Atlantic Federal Savings and Loan and became one of the first African-American vice presidents in their history. God gifted Derek with a rich revelation of his agape love. He knew how to love unconditionally, and he shared it extensively. He founded Zoe Life Christian Teaching Center in 1984, and in 1985, he wrote a 2-year Through the Bible course, which graduated hundreds of students. He also created both a basic and advanced spiritual bodybuilding Bible classes, and Zoe Life Ministry became, and is still today, this moment, an arm of strength to churches in the local communities, and is still beneficial to many who have gone on to hold positions in ministry. They still lean on the teachings and have those tapes and those lessons from my husband that my son can tell you. As we end tonight, we all talk. People are still talking about what they learned in my husband's tutelage. He was a pastor's pastor. He was a teacher's teacher. He was a genius. My husband had a photographic memory, because I was like, well, how you remember when we were dating? He'd stay out late. I'd be in the library studying. He'd make an A. He just made an A. So he finally told me, he said, well, I can see what I read. When he read the Bible, he can actually see it in his mind. I mean, he was phenomenal. He really, really was. Okay, now, so in addition, Pastor Derek and I, we both earned Master Teacher Certification under the tutelage of Dr. Lori Gordon, who was a founder of my institution that taught me these skills, pairs and peers. Pairs was for adults, couples, and peers was for students, for healthy relationships. I present to you my husband who's in heaven. I know interceding for me every time, and my family, and for the world, really. I love him still, and I miss him a lot. A whole bunch. Okay, and these are my children. I acknowledge my son, Josh W. Hobby III. You see, I was surrounded by royalty, and Derek Early Gillis Jr. So I had a senior, a junior, and a third. I mean, I was just a queen among kings. My sons are the greatest gifts that heaven could have ever blessed me with. For 30 years, I was surrounded by 3 men of great chivalry. Our lives are filled with memories and experiences, some awesomely good, and others, well, we had to create the good from what was left. So as a result, we all of us matured and developed a deep, firm, loving, and healthy relationship. They, together with my grands, truly are my primary reasons to live. My men are living proof that life may not always be fair, but developing the character of God and understanding the anatomy of your emotions is key in helping one to live independent of circumstances, especially when the circumstances are negative. We have to learn to live independent. One of my husband's greatest lessons, living independent of circumstances. So both Josh and Derek are dedicated to keeping Dad's legacy alive. Amazing hearts lived in the inside of my sons and my husband. And as you all know, my son Josh, just before COVID was exposed to the world, went to heaven. And even though they said it was his heart just stopped, well, as we traveled through that COVID journey, I really believe that because of his job, that he was working among people who were Baker acted and then released and on, those are addictions, anti-recidivism kind of a platform. He probably contracted the AIDS virus, the COVID virus, and didn't know it. And so he is in heaven, but as you can see, handsome, handsome, handsome men. Derek is here with me tonight. Okay. Then Michelle Brimberry, my daughter from Abba. That's what I call her. So Michelle, this little girl, she was a little girl, I think 11 years old, 12 years old when I met her. This little girl came into the exercise class. Can y'all believe I used to teach exercise class? I did. And in the library on the Skid Row, I taught exercise classes to the little kids in the neighborhood. But she came in the exercise class and I sat in the distance all the way in the corner. And I kept saying, Michelle, want to join us? No. And when she found that I was in ministry, she really didn't want to talk to me. I don't want to tell her nothing about God. It was her whole thing. So inviting Michelle to join the class over and over until she did was the beginning of a relationship that has lasted now it's over more than 38 years. Michelle became a permanent member of the Gillis home. She adopted us as family and fit perfectly. We had a daughter and our sons had a sister to contend with, and then love laughed about it. That's funny. Michelle regained her confidence. She was reminded me so much of myself when I met her. No confidence, but anyway, she regained that confidence that she needed, and that little girl met life's challenges head on. She learned, she's still a bulldozer. Boom, So today she's earned her master's degree. A little girl who wasn't even going to finish high school when I met her. I didn't want to. I said, oh yeah, you're going to. Not only did she finish high school, she was a great athlete. She could have been really a Serena Williams easily. Had she had the care in her early stages, but she earned a master's degree and will soon retire from Broward County Sheriff Department. I'm so happy that Michelle chose the Gillis house and wouldn't let it go. Thank you, Michelle. As a result, I have seen her blossom right before my eyes, and I've shared the joys of a daughter's care. Now, so this is my vanilla mom. And Dr. Lori Gordon, I don't know how she got that color, but she was just a human being. Some people you meet, they're just human beings, and that's what she was. She was a founder of everything I studied. Dr. Lori Gordon was a kind of woman who refused to give up or accept the status quo. That was her. At a very young age, she was devastated at the loss of both parents. And as an adult, the loss of a 17-year marriage that could not be sustained. All of this happened before I met her. Lori could have called it quits, but instead she spent her entire life searching the world now. She went all over the world searching for answers and solutions. In every sense of the word, Pears is a result of her life experiences and the sincere dedication of the following individuals. Virginia Satir, Daniel Casriel, and the late Rabbi Maury Gordon, her husband, were key figures in our themes, in our workshops, in our seminars. And Virginia Satir was a great teacher and family therapist. She was significant to our global understanding of family dynamics and the skills needed to create and sustain connections that can last a lifetime. We want a connection that not last because I'm loving you because, I'm loving you because I love you, so they'll last a lifetime. Then Daniel Casriel was really key. He was a pioneer New York psychiatrist who recognized that all are born with an inherent biological need for emotional and physical connection. Connection with bonding down, deprivation that frequently impacts every area of our life, physically, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. That's why the body of Christ is ill. Telling you, we got a sick church that can be healed just like God says. And then the late gracious, and I'm telling you, this is exactly who he was. This is a man that called my husband. I went through a telephone book out of in the whole United States of America, and then boom, put his finger down and called my husband. When we were separated, I had the papers on my desk to sign the divorce papers the next day. And when my husband came home and said he got this call from Rabbi Gordon, and when I go to this workshop, I was like, for my sons is the reason I'm going. That's the only reason I'm going, so I can look in their eyes and say I tried everything. You know how we can get when we think we're not wrong. By the time I got through my first workshop, I boohoo cried because I realized, wow, I didn't do the deed, but I did not make it easy for our lives to be what it should have been. We both needed help. Now, so he was loyal, devoted, and a beloved husband of Dr. Lori. At his first introduction to Pears, came home from the military. He was a rabbi on the battlefields with the soldiers in World War II. And then again, I believe in the Vietnam War. And so when he came home retired, Dr. Lori was a teacher in Virginia at one of the colleges. She was a professor at one of the colleges. And he took her class, sat down in the class. At his first introduction to Pears, Rabbi insisted that work that she was doing had to go around the world. And therefore, now he didn't know her as his wife at that point, she was just a teacher. And therefore, he dedicated his inspiration to develop and the growth of pairs on behalf of a saner, this is what he would say. This was his mantra. We need a safer, saner, more loving world for all of God's children. He was the one that told me about the Burma Road. And if you never heard about the Burma Road, he would just talk to me what he experienced. The Burma Road was a road that was built during the war, World War II. And even though we know who got the accolades and the commendations for building the bridge, it was actually Black soldiers that built it. He said, I was there. I'm the one that prayed for them. I saw them die doing this bridge. So don't let people fool you. Black people made that bridge. So study it sometime. He opened our eyes to that. And then Dr. Lori agreed that love, trust, and faith are important for a lasting partnership. And just as important is the need for knowledge and practical skills that enable us to reconnect, recommit, and deepen. See, it's easy for us to connect, but when we get broken, we don't know how to reconnect. So she believes in really understanding how to, when it's broken, reconnect, recommit, and then deepen the union. Pairs simply, practically, and effectively offer all these things, all of these, so that participants will find the solutions that fit for the vision, the wishes, hopes, and dreams in their own lives. This is what I love about pairs. It creates a tool belt so that it's not a cookie cutter kind of a platform for you that you got to do this, no, you use what you need to use. For instance, if your light bulb went out, you don't need to have an extension cord. You need another bulb. So this gives you a whole arsenal of tools and skills. So whatever's going wrong in your relationship, you look in that tool belt and you figure out what it is that you need and you take it out and you use it to recommit, reconnect, and deepen your relationships. Dr. Lori Gordon, now I want to show you. These are the people who have walked with me from the inception way back when, 2008, I believe it was 2009, then I shelved it. But Monique Dennis, Marvin L. Thomas, Laverne Porter Mitchell, Daryl White, Alicia Hill, Michelle Brimberry, Jennifer Woodley, Susie Thomas, Jackie Benjamin. These women just laid with me and helped me to get these words and all that on paper and all that kind of stuff. I'm blessed beyond measure to be your sister in faith and your friend in life. I appreciate each of you for your help, your prayers, your encouragement, which enabled the completion of the work before the deadline. Therefore, my sisters, I will not just speak your name tonight, I will forever speak your names. Thank you, Monique, Marvinelle, Laverne, Daryl, Alicia, Michelle, Jennifer, Susie, and Jackie. And I have to add one more person. Her name is Nydia Volnir. She was one of my interns from the University of Florida since I've been here. She came and worked one of the summers with me, editing it down and helping me to get to the 6-session workshop. So I have to add her name. Once I get this all edited in the second edition, those names will be added. Other names will be added as well. But I appreciate you all so much. Then the glossary is just actually in the back of your handbook. All these terminologies that I've said are right there for you to read. Tells you what page it's on, okay? What page you can find it. And then the glossary, you will see, I not only have, you can see, you have the definitions of every single thing I've taught you. This is in the book that you get, all right? All of these is your glossary. And then the references, these are the references that I have used for my work. And you can always look them up. They're right there in the back of your book. You can always find them. What is the invitation rule? I'm going to show you. Now, this is, if you want to know if you're dirty fighting, this is a little pocket a tool or a poster you can put on your car, so anywhere. But whenever I call this a dirty dozen. If you see a person doing any of these things, they fighting dirty. That's what they're doing. Called dirty fighting. You can say you are fighting dirty, okay? Now, so fair fight results. When you learn to fight fair, respect will increase. You'll be more informed. You'll be willing to talk more about your things that are important. Empathy, understanding, self-worth, trust, emotions, all these things will grow. That's what happens when you learn how to fight fair. And we didn't get a chance to fight fair in this, on the weekend you do. The invitation rule is simply, I teach you how to approach someone when you really want to talk. And this is the little pocket thing that you can carry that, that you can make a reference to until you get it in your spirit. So you ask a soft ask. May I ask to speak with you? Hey, I need to tell you what's on. I need to, how we do with the neck and all that stuff. Hey, because this teaches you how to be softer. Okay, please respond with time and date. And you can even slip this to somebody. If you're too angry to talk, you just slip it to them right there what you want, and then they give it back to you. This is a beautiful experience. This, for your information, is a tool as well. This one is what I recommend if there's been adultery, if there's been any kind of illegal experiences outside of the relationship that is called trust to be diminished. This is the trust builder. If you need to build trust in your relationship, this is a tool you need. This is what you would do every single day, because what happens when you when you inform people about who you are and you keep your word, it builds trust. It rebuilds trust. It reconnects you. So that's the tool for that, and you'll get all those things. So my final congratulations to you as I say thank you again before we do dialogue tonight. I hope I left enough time for you to do that. Wanted to get this out of my heart into you tonight because I want you to know this is not just something that I'm doing. I believe this is a mandate on my life. So before I go to heaven, I want to complete this work and do a couple other things that the Lord wants me to do. I got to stay on track. So thank you so much for choosing again to be a peace participant. What's the mantra? Practice, practice, practice. Hear it in your dreams. It's the key to transforming your mind. Just like you become a professional at anything else you do by practicing it, you will transfer your mind, your will, your intellect, your appetite, and your desires. So now please share peace with someone else, because truly sharing is caring. Sincerely yours, Dr. Gillis. I'm going to stop sharing so we can get back now. So how much time do I have? What time is it? Please. So what I want to do now, on my note to you this morning, I said, please bring a thought, any kind of word, comments. I wanted to jot whatever you say down so that I can actually build on it, because you all help me out a bunch. You just don't know it. So this is your turn to talk to me. I see somebody there. I got a lot of chat. Oh, blessings to me. Okay, thank you. Oh, wow. Yes. Okay. Pastor, do I have, what time, please?
Yes, ma'am. You still have 10 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, don't let me beg you, come off your mic, and I was looking for my little papers. Somebody help me. Okay, there we go. I'm almost ready. Okay, I'm ready.
Diana. It's Diana.
Okay. Yes, Pastor.
Yeah, I don't know if this is not a question really, but when I hear you talk and I think about the children in school, I really wish you could take it into the school.
Can you speak a little bit louder, Pastor Diana?
Yes, I pray that the Lord will open a door where you can take this into the schools, so that this could be something that teach our young people, because you see them and they get angry real quick, and all they want to do is end the person's life. They take it to like that. It's like they don't have that emotional connection to that being a person. So I really pray that the Lord will open the door where you'll be able to take it into the schools.
Absolutely. I was dreaming the other night. I was seeing HBCUs. Where our Black colleges and universities, and we all celebrate them and how wonderful they are. When every time you go to one, I can't believe Black people is great, But I'm like, okay, so what about on our level down here? Because I see this as a school. I see this as a catch net, that when children are truant, when they are, instead of internal suspension, that I have a 6-session workshop. They come to me for 6 days, 6 sessions. The principal will refer them to peace program. Instead of sending them to juvenile justice, peace program. I want a house so they can live there. and really good. So you're in my vein right there. Thank you. Thank you. Next, yeah, just come on, y'all, because we got 10 minutes.
Okay, this is Susie.
Hi, Pastor.
I just want to say, Pastor Lena, thank you for taking this to another dimension. I remember when Rabbi Gordon and Lori came the very first session I was there. And it has just got greater and greater and greater. And I really forget a lot of time to use the right tool. Sometimes I even leave the tool belt home. But these sessions that you've done over the months has brought me back to a new way of, it's not a new way for me, but remembering how I'm supposed to do it the right way. Thank you for taking this to another dimension.
Thank you, Pastor, because I leave my tool belt home sometimes too. I mean, I'm telling you, this is a lifelong process. It's like salvation.
Yes.
It's like salvation. I mean, you miss it, you got to get back on it. You know, you
Amen.
get back on it. So thank you. I'm ready. You're welcome. Okay. Thank you.
Love you, love you, love you. Awesome.
That's my son. You covered up, huh?
Yes, it is.
I know. I love you too, son. Thank you for being so supportive. You and your wonderful wife. My son and his wife have agreed to be a facilitator.
Amen.
Yes, we have walked these through their marriage as well. And, you know, it's been a great honor to see how they have put these tools and skills into place, and their children are brought up for it. Everything is just, so I just pray for them all the time that they will just stay right there. Stay locked into God and locked into peace.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Yes. Anyone else? You really helped me to, whatever you're saying, I put these things, I pray about it, because I need your input to make sure that you're hearing me, that I'm being clear, that the message is getting across and all like that. And of course, you know, with the temperature of these sessions going so fast paced, we don't really get a chance to talk and dialogue like this. So, you know, even if after tonight you want to shoot me an email or text or something and say something that you may not have thought about tonight, I embrace those things. I love that. It makes me happy.
Oh yeah, I wanted to say, go all the way to the White House.
Go, what I say?
Go all the way to the White House.
To Congress.
Yes, to Congress.
I see it all over
For
the world.
sure.
It's in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Okay. I see one more chat, and then I'm going to give it to Pastor. If no one else, you're welcome. Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to say to my wonderful church at Greater Bethel, the pastors who thought it not robbery to be on these lines sometimes, and those who minister, Vianne, and I'm looking at either Cole, Dr. Cole, Vianne Maxie, that's the wrong name. Vianne Maxie Gilliard, like I'm Gillis, she's not, but we were dancers as children together, and very important dancers. She was one of the original dancers, in another white lady who I think was just a human being, Mary Webb. She was among that group. So, Ben, thank you so much. And I'm going to now give it to Pastor Ron Rose to say goodnight. Thank you, Pastor.
All right, wonderful, Dr. Gillis. We thank you so much for sharing your just wealth of information and knowledge with us to help us not necessarily hide or run away from our emotions or not claim our emotions, but learn how to understand our emotions and make our emotions work for our good and not for our bad. And so thank you so much for sharing those tools with us. Anybody that's watching this video, please make sure you share it And in the chat, you'll see different ways that you can get in contact with Dr. Gillis. You may want to bring it to your institution that you're associated with, to your ministry, to your organization, and she's willing and able to share her gift. And so, thank you all so much for joining us and being consistent to get the information, to spread the information. Dr. Gillis, we thank you so much. God bless everybody, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Zoe Life family.
Good night.
I see Angie Terrell. Oh my goodness.